Hello students, I'm Madhumita Banerjee. I welcome you to my English class. Today in this presentation, I'm going to discuss about the story The Country of the Blind. This story is written by H.G. Wells and this story is from your English literature reader. Now let me say you few words about the prolific writer H.G. Wells. His full name was Herbert George Wells and he was an English writer. He was prolific in many genres, means he wrote dozens of novels, short stories and works of social commentary, history, satire, biography and autobiography. His work also included two books on recreational war games. Wells is now best remembered for his science fiction novels and is often called the father of science fiction. This story, The Country of the Blind, is rich in symbolism. What is a symbol? A symbol is a thing that represents or stands for something else. Suppose rainbow. If I mention rainbow, it's then it's not only saying about the colors or something. Rainbow symbolizes hope and promise. Then what is symbolism? It's a literary device. Symbolism or a literary symbol is an object, a person, a situation, or an action that has a literal meaning in a story but suggests or represents other meanings. Now I am going to read out this story, The Country of the Blind, and also going to explain the story to you all. 300 miles and more from Chimborazo, 100 from the snows of Cotopaxi in the wildest wastes of Ecuador's Andes, there lies that mysterious mountain valley, cut off from all the world of men, the country of the blind. So the first paragraph tells about the location of the mysterious mountain valley which was cut off from the world of men, and that valley was the country of the blind. The valley had everything a man could desire: sweet water, pasture, and even climate, slopes of rich brown soil with tangles of a shrub that bore an excellent fruit, and on one side great hanging forests of pine that held the avalanches high. So, what is required for living? Everything was present in that valley: water, green grass, then trees, fruits, everything, even good climate, everything was there. For overhead, on three sides, vast cliffs of grey-green rock were capped by cliffs of ice. It was a mountainous valley, so the mountains were covered with ice. It neither rained nor snowed, but the abundant springs gave a rich green pasture. The valley was very much green with grass and green vegetation. That irrigation would spread over all the valley space. The settlers did well indeed there. Those who lived there, they were very happy, they did well. Their beasts that did well and multiplied. So even the beasts or the animals also, they were also happy, they were also um, giving birth to young ones. So multiplied in number. But one thing marred their happiness. Marred means ruined. What was that? That marred or ruined their happiness? A strange disease. That disease had come upon them and had made all the generations blind. And because of that disease, people living there, they became blind. Their story was forgotten and the valley remained isolated and unknown. This was the valley which was unknown and it was isolated, means separated. The disease ran its course and blindness became a way of life, means though people suffered there from this disease and they became blind, but this they were completely used to this condition. When the last sight died out among them, the rest lived on, fully adapted and adept at navigating around the valley and in devising a unique lifestyle. So, the last person having sight when he died, that moment, other everyone present over there, they became blind. But they were completely skilled people. Though they were blind, they were able to live a life of comfort. They were able to maintain a unique lifestyle. That means they were adapted to the situation. So let me explain the hard words from this first page. Here, mysterious means having an atmosphere of strangeness or secrecy. Pasture, ground covered with grass. Tangles means to mix together. Avalanches, no, snow slide. Abundant means in a great quantity. Marred means to ruin. Isolated means separated. And adept means very skilled or proficient at something. Now I'm going to read the next page. Generations followed generations means generation after generation people were blind. There came a time when a child was born who was 15 generations from that ancestors who first suffered the disease. So after 15 generation also they were blind only. And then a mountaineer separated from his party and had from a fall discovered himself in the valley. So this is here we are introduced to the character, main character, whose name was Nunes. So this mountaineer, he fell down and dangerously fell down from the mountain, and then he discovered or find himself in the valley of the blind. It was a fall that man would usually not survive, but he did. So this mountaineer, he was very hardy, very strong. He survived the fall and he reached he reached the valley of the blind. In doing so, he stumbled on the secret of the country of the blind. So he reached the country of the blind. At first, he wandered here and there, tired, hot, and thirsty. He just wandering in the valley. He was hurt because of the fall. He was thirsty. There was every sign of a prosperous civilization. The man, a rugged mountaineer, had an eye for detail. The unusual symmetry in the cityscape did not escape his attention. So this person, the strong mountaineer, he was having an eye for every detail, and the unusual symmetry, balance in that uh, country, it was followed by him. He observed it and he understood the valley was very prosperous valley. The continuous row of houses on either side, an astonishing clear street, and the complete lack of windows in the houses made him forget the pain of his fall. He was very much means what should I say, he was very much interested in the what he has seen. The houses were there but there was no window. The streets were very neat and clean, so he was very much surprised. Added to that sight were the partly colored walls of the houses. The houses were not completely colored but partly, as if the painter had no idea of what he was doing. So it seems the painter was not skilled. The man must have been as blind as a bat, was the first thought he had. So the mountaineer thought who were painting the houses, they were not having proper sight and not skilled. When he finally saw people, he was struck by their respectable demeanor and the air of peace and tranquility. The people present over there, or the inhabitants, their means appearance, their gentle appearance, their means peace loving nature, everything surprised the mountaineer who had a fall. He clambered up to them and introduced himself and his plight. He tried to introduce himself to these people of the country of the blind, and he tried to narrate his plight. The man stood quiet and unfocused. The people living over there, they were quiet and they were not very much focused. They were unfocused. They were not knowing. They were not able to understand what this mountaineer was trying to convey. As if they were trying to get their heads around a new phenomenon, as if the mountaineer was saying something which was not known to them. The man then realized that they were blind, all of them. A thought struck him. Could this possibly be the legendary country of the blind? So the mountaineer, he was thinking then that is it the country where the blind people used to live? Now let me tell you the hard words. Here prosperous means characterized by success, rugged, very strong, symmetry, fine balance, astonishingly, surprisingly, demure the way someone looks or behaves. Tranquility means peace, clambered, climb or move in an awkward way. Phenomenon means situation. Let me read the third page. So, the secret land of plenty where everyone is blind. So, now the mountaineer is thinking that I am in the land of the blind. The second thought that formed unbidden in his mind was the old song that went in the country of the blind, the one eyed man is king. So, he firstly he thought that this is the country of the blind, and then and there he started thinking about, or he was just recalling the song, and what was the line that in the country of the blind the one-eyed man is the king. So he started considering himself as the king of that country of the blind, because he was having the means quality of sight. He was taken to the village elders. So this mountaineer, he was taken to the village elders. The house without windows was dark and cool. Light streamed through the thatched roof. The elders were sitting on the floor. The man searched for any sign of sight, and there was none. They were all blind, so he was sure that no one was having the power of sight there except him. He ventured to introduce himself again. He tried to once again introduce himself to the people of that country, describe the city where he came from and the work he did, and also how he came to the valley. So he was trying to narrate in front of the people of the country of the blind about his own city or country from where he had come, and then he tried to convey them how he reached there, but everything seemed that they were not able to understand. There was not a speck of emotion on the elders' faces. So the elders, they were devoid of emotion. Why? Because they were not able to understand what this mountaineer was telling. They heard him out and waited for more. They were only listening to him. Finally, when he was done, they looked at each other, nodded gravely, and huddled together discussing something. When the mountaineer stopped saying whatever he wanted to say, then these people, they started discussing among themselves. They did not they did need to fill around the room to navigate like the blind usually do, but none of them were behaving as if they were just like the blind people. They were able to move freely. That was little bit surprising. Their movements were sure, they were very firm, like the sighted, as if they were having sight. Confident, they were confident, and they were not at all hurried. One of his escorts spoke. The, uh, the person who was escorting the mountaineer, he then started saying, what did he say? This man cannot walk straight. He was telling about the mountaineer that mountaineer was not able to walk properly. Sir, he stumbles and he talks about strange lands and something called side. The escort was telling that this person, mountaineer, he was telling something which was not understood by anyone, and he was also telling about some quality which was known as sight. Had he stumbled? That he remembered that he had, but that was because the path was rough. Yes, this mountaineer recalled that he stumbled. He was not able to walk properly like them. And because the path was not smooth, it was rough. He suddenly realized that the other man had not stumbled at all. But then the mountaineer also realized that yes, he was stumbling, but the other man who was a blind person who was escorting him, he never stumbled. You need to rest, stranger. You are not making sense. This land you speak of does not exist. So, now what was the ultimate word said by the people of the blind country? They said that, stranger, you are tired. And what you are saying, it's meaningless. So, I think we think you should take rest. Only then you will be saying something sensible and will be able to understand. So better take rest, because whatever you are now so far you told, we cannot believe in it. So let me tell you the hard meaning of the hard words. Unbidden means arising without conscious effort. Huddle means crowd together, stumbles, trip, or momentary loss one's balance, momentarily losing one's balance. And these are the hard words. So this much for today. Now it's time for home assignment. So I suggest you to read the story with correct pronunciation, and see you again, and then we'll be reading the remaining part of the story. Till then, goodbye. Thank you, everyone.